What's up, everybody? Welcome to Narco Cop MMA. This is the Dana White's Contender Series Week 3. It was supposed to be a great fun card. We lost one of the best fights of this card. Kind of fucking bummed of that. Pereira versus I think his name is Ferreira versus Dos Santos, man. Actually, it is Pereira versus Dos Santos. That fight is going to be fucking incredible, and it's gone now. So we're left with 4 fights. Still enough to break down, still enough to maybe find some spots here. I think it's this card's a little shaky as far as money line's concerned, but I do have a special guest this week. It is my friend, MMA Fox, John Stargarian. What is up, my man?
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Good, man. You ready for this 4-fight card here? We lost one of the best fights.
I am ready. I had a brutal week 1. I skipped last week. Haven't bet anything as of yet, but I got a couple things I'm thinking about here. So, I mean, we'll get into it, see what comes of it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. This card, I really haven't played any money lines at all. I did sprinkle little props that seem to stick out a little bit. But yeah, man, I feel like these money lines this week are pretty sharp. If lines move in the way that I want them to move, I might actually have a money line play. But right now, I'm staying away from these money lines, man. It feels like a trap, John. It feels like a trap, and they're trying to trap us in here.
Well, you know what it is? Like the Ferreira fight you were talking about, there was like a decent amount of data on that fight. You know, for a lot of these fights, it's like, yeah, I mean, we'll go into each of them. It's like, yeah, there's tape, but some of it's against just absolute trash level competition. And it's like, do you want to throw a dart and figure out whether your read is right or not? You know,
it's exactly how I feel, honestly. It's like, yes, you know that they're facing, bad competition, but it's literally you're throwing a dart here, like, because the one strength that the one guy has, it's the weakness of the other guy. And it's like, what should I do? Should I toss a dart here and think that this guy might, leveling against a higher level competition is not gonna do as well? Like, you don't know. So go over quickly to chat. What is up, Forrest Daniels? Liam picks fights in the house. Send Monkey, Christian, John. What is up? Yeah, hit that like down below. Let's kick this off. It's 4 fights. We shouldn't be that long. We will start out with the first fight of the night. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 6-0 Robbie Ring versus the 7-1 Luis Pahuilo. What do you got here, John? Anything that sticks out? Anything that you see in this fight?
It's a weird fight. I got to be honest. I've seen a lot of love for the Ring side, and I guess surface level, I do understand it. Like when you look at Pahuilo's his tape, the guy very clearly does not have the best wrestling in the world. Not great hips. He makes some pretty bad mistakes when he's getting up. And obviously, Ring subbed his last 3 opponents. He's got a somewhat slick submission game, but this is kind of like one of those fights I was talking about, right? Because I am not, the way I have heard people talk about Robbie Ring is like he's this super high level jiu-jitsu guy, and I'm really not sure that's the case. I think it's more he subbed Jacob Kilburn, which I guess is okay, but I mean, Jacob Kilburn, UFC washout, he's not very good, and that was just a very quick sub. I just don't feel very comfortable about his jiu-jitsu, and if he doesn't control Pahuilo, I'll say this, Pahuilo has no defense in any realm, but the man's got a motor, and he will absolutely bring it to you. And like, I don't know who wins the striking here, because Pahuilo's got no defense, but he's aggressive. And the one thing we know about this guy is he can fight deep into fights, whereas Ring, he's finishing all these guys in like 40 seconds, 2 minutes. Like what happens if he has to grapple early in this fight and Pahuilo just keeps popping up, or he doesn't sub him? Is he going to have gas left in round 2 and 3, or is it going to be a week 1 thing with that other Peruvian kid against the ATT Jiu-Jitsu guy, where he just gasses horribly and gets melted down the stretch? And I don't really know. So I don't really feel strongly about it. My instinct is, you got to lean to the grappler against the guy who pretty clearly can't grapple. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of data missing on the Ring side that would make me uncomfortable with the current price.
Yeah, man. I just have the same exact inklings on this fight. Like, off the surface, it's like, yeah, this kid is only 23 years old. He's definitely probably going to show some improvements. He's undefeated in his amateur career. He's undefeated in his pro career, albeit, like you mentioned, like he hasn't really faced high level of opposition. I mean, Jacob Kilburn is an all right win. I mean, it's a finish. It's good
for a regional win.
100%. It's a good win. I'm not going to take that away from this kid. But when I watch tape on this guy, like he's clearly a little uncomfortable in the stand-up. He's not very good there. The other thing is, like, you have to take into account this guy is training with his mom and dad. Okay. His mom and dad are his main coaches, right? In their own gym. What kind of like level is he training with in that particular gym? Like, I don't see anybody that I know, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but when you look, I kind of looked at like how long it took him to like go up to black belt, and it literally went like 1 year from purple to brown and then 1 year from brown to black, which is kind of fast, right?
Very fast.
And he's getting promoted by I believe it's his dad, or one or the other. I think it's his dad though. So it's like, it's kind of iffy that, this guy's black belt. Is it real? Is it not so real? Now on the ground, he's good. He attacks submissions. He has kind of decent wrestling, pretty good wrestling. He gets guys down and pretty much washes them out on the ground for the most part. When you look, like, this is the concerning part, right? 16 seconds, knockout. 13 seconds, knockout. 37 seconds, knockout. 40 seconds, sub. It's like the one fight that got extended was obviously against Jacob Kilburn in the second round, 4 minutes, which is okay. It's a fine look. But then he comes back and fights this 0-0 guy and chokes him out in the minute 27. That's the problem with ring. Like, there's not a lot of ring experience. Not a lot of ring experience for ring, right? Honestly, like, when you look at Pahuilo, and I'm going a little bit deep on this breakdown because it does need a little bit of a deep breakdown. He fought a guy in Mike Davidson, a Brazilian guy who's actually really good technically. Like, when you watch this guy, he's good on the ground. He's good on the feet. And dude, this Pahuilo guy will not fucking stop coming. I mean, he is an absolute madman, dude. The other thing is, I think you got to take this into account. This guy trains in Peru at high level, right? He's in fucking, the sea level there is fucking what, 7,000 average or 8,000. No wonder this guy has like crazy cardio. Like, he keeps coming. He's not gonna fucking stop for 3 rounds. So, in my opinion, Ring needs to finish this guy early. If he doesn't finish this guy early, I have a feeling that Pahuilo is gonna break him in round.
He also, sorry, I'm echoing.
Go ahead.
He also hits the body. Oh, I'm echoing.
No,
I'm
you're
good
fine.
now, I think. Okay. He also hits the body pretty hard, Pahuilo, which is a big deal.
He works the body hard. I think he has, I don't want to say he has very heavy hands, but he has some pretty decent striking, and he's throwing in combinations, and it's like hellacious, dude. It's like nonstop. Like, that Davidson loss, like, it could have been a win for him. It was really close. And like, he almost broke that guy like 2 different times. And like I said, like, guy's a pretty good fighter. Like, he's not a bum. The last guy he fought, like, he's getting cracked by this Pereira guy left and right. And he's just smiling at him, dude. He's smiling and he keeps coming forward. He got dropped. I think it's in that Davidson fight where he got dropped and he got up and like laughing at this guy, bro. Like, it's just one of those things where this guy can break you because he's non-fucking stop. So I think for me is, Ring has a pretty big like grappling edge, like wrestling. But man, on the feet, I don't like Ring here on the feet. I think this guy is gonna probably KO him if it stands for very, very long here. So, money line now, I don't want to touch it, to be honest, John. I really don't. I don't want to touch this fight. I know I'm looking at the numbers right now, and Ring has blown out to like 175. If I get Pahuilo at like honestly at like 160, 170 range. Probably going to play him. I already took a poke at round 3. I have to. You have to. It's plus 1,200 for round 3. For this madman, dude. This guy's a literal man. He has 1, 2, including his amateur career. He has 3 round 3 finishes, dude. And honestly, that Davidson fight was so close to finishing in round 3. Like, this guy is an absolute animal when it comes to, like, and he's gonna bring it. I guarantee you. Like, these South American guys, if we've seen anything, they're resilient and they keep coming. So, you know,
it's also
go ahead.
It's also a situation too where, and if you saw this, let me know, because like that was the last fight I taped. I taped it at the end of the day, but it's a situation where I have very little doubt Ring can get takedowns here, but he doesn't to me seem like a back taker per se. And if you're against a guy who's not going to jump on hooks or a body triangle, I mean, Pahuilo doesn't sit on bottom. He'll try to get up right away. So it's like, is he going to put hooks in and take his back and put it in a body triangle? If so, he'll probably be fine. But if not, and he can just get up and separate in the clinch, well, then this is going to be a very competitive fight.
Well, I don't think in a single one of his fights, he's been taken down. I think he's gotten back taken. Even he's been mounted. But in all of his fights that he's been in those bad positions, he's gotten up. He fights out of them. I'm telling you, he's a madman. Like, this guy will fight and fight and fight and get out of these positions. He gets in them, but like, I'm not very sure about Davidson's accolades as far as jiu-jitsu. That I'm not sure. I might look into that. And if he's a very high-level black belt, let's say, Davidson, I'm probably going to bet Pahuilo. Just because if that guy didn't sub him and he was in great positions against him, I don't think Ring is going to sub him, you know? So, yeah, this is another thing. Like, his parents were trained in Chuck Norris Academy. Like, how serious can you take that? You know, it's like, okay, he's been training supposedly since 5 years old, and his first amateur fight was at 15, which is pretty damn early. So, Ultimate Fight Week with Dana White Contender Susie follow. Yeah, I know, that's follow up. I have to get into that tape as well. Diehard says, just a correction, the sub against Kilburn was 4-3 of round 2, not a quick sub. Yeah, it was round 2. Pretty much ragdoll. No, there was some moments where he got up, Kilburn got some hands on him, but yeah, pretty much he destroyed him. They handed the man a black belt, McDonald's Happy Meal. Yeah, I kind of feel like his black belt's a little iffy, to be honest. Like I said, look at the trajectory. 1 year, like a little over a year, purple belt to black to brown belt to black belt. It was like only a year span, like a little over a year. So kind of iffy, if you ask me. I think you need to go a little more than a year from brown to black. So moving on, John. That was a long-winded one. Fight number 2. It is in the women's strawweight division. It is the 4-1 Isis Verbique versus the 5-0 Josephine Knudsen. This is another one. I had an early bet on Verbique. I cashed out. I told you I lost a little money on the cash out. I just don't trust her to get taken down here, man. Her takedown defense is not very good. I know the Papraki fight was a long time ago, but my God, she got ragdolled for 3 rounds in that fight. You know, and watching these other girls that she's been fighting, like, they're really, most of them are strikers. The Gallardo win is okay. You know, I don't mind that win there, but the problem with her is she gets stuck on the cage a lot. You know, if she's not getting taken down, she's on the cage. And I feel like, you know, and technically speaking, her striking is really good. Her Muay Thai is good. I like it. She throws pretty hard. I like the knees. The knees in the clinch are very, very nice. She's a typical Muay Thai girl. Like, she's very good in the Muay Thai, very good in the clinch, like the Muay Thai clinch. But again, takedown defense is very iffy. She's training up there in Colorado with Rose Namajunas. That's what I've noticed. You know, and her opponent, Josephine, you know, she's very aggressive. She's a kickboxer as well. I don't think she's the cleaner striker here. I do think Verbique is the cleaner striker here, but she's going to have the volume. I think she's going to have the aggression. And I was very surprised, honestly, to see at face-offs that she's even bigger than Verbique, which has me very concerned for Verbique if she's the smaller girl here. Because when you look, it says 5'3", 61-inch reach, and then the other girl's 5'4", but when you look at face-offs, Knudsen's bigger. So the thing is, like, I think the line is a little wide here, but I'm also concerned that Knudsen's going to get her down and just like dominate her on the ground, which, it's a fact. Like, Knudsen's going to be better down there. And, with that being said, like, maybe like some kind of Knudsen prop late where she breaks Verbique, because I do think Verbique kind of breaks on tape. Like, I feel like she slows down. But it's like laying 275 with Knudsen is not something you want to do, because look at her career. Like, she tends to fight close. Like the Austin fight, maybe she lost that fight. The Fusini fight, I think, was kind of close as well. So it's like, I don't know if I want to lay these prices with this girl, but I do think Knudsen wins. I think she wins probably most likely via grappling and via outpacing this girl. So I don't know. What do you have here, John?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Knudsen is probably a bit overrated. She got a lot of hype for that Lachana Green fight where she just absolutely mugged her. I mean, just beat the absolute piss out of her. Obviously, she fought Austin, who's a decent grappler herself, and won that fight. Very hard-nosed fight. And I don't think Knudsen's bad. I just think the market's view of her is like she's this hyper prospect. And I think it's more, she's solid, good physicality, comes forward, but she's not like uber skilled anywhere. Like, if you tell me they kickbox for 15 minutes, I'd feel pretty good about a Verbique play. I think Verbique, as you mentioned, bit cleaner. I think her leg kicks could give Knudsen a lot of problems in space. And honestly, Knudsen doesn't even shoot that much. You and I were talking about this. The problem I have is, you touched on it, she is like a classic Thai striker. So like, if you pressure her, she's not looking to skirt out and away and reset in the middle. Like, she's looking to kind of just plant and sit down on her shots. And that is Knudsen. If you basically stand in front of her and stay there, she will happily push you into the clinch. And that's really where we've seen Knudsen have, all of her takedown success. It's those like judo type throws out of the clinch. Sean mentioned it earlier today, and I went back and looked, and he was right. But one of the things that really bothers me, and it's one of my biggest bugaboos about women anyone actually, not just women, defending takedowns, is trying to go to the plum clinch instead of, working for underhooks or a whizzer to like stay on your feet. Is it just makes it, you have no way to get any leverage if you go to the plum clinch like against the fence. And we see, unfortunately, Verbique do that all the time. So it's like one of these things where if you tell me Knudsen opts not to grapple here, I wouldn't be shocked. And I wouldn't be shocked if Verbique wins the fight. The thing is, it's just like I think Knudsen can win a stand-up fight, first of all. I don't think it's like Knudsen's plus 200 standing up. It's probably a competitive fight if they're standing. But it's just such an easy safety valve. And, with Verbique, it's like when this woman gets put on her back, it's not even that she doesn't know what she's doing, but like she'll immediately close her guard. And it's like, if you're closing your guard, you better be either fucking firing elbows or throwing up a submission and then getting up. But that's not what she's doing. It's like, so she just basically just accepts being there. So with that being the case, it's like Knudsen can try her hand striking early in this fight. And if she decides she's not having enough success there, just go right to it and take her down. And with that dynamic, I tried to fade this dynamic a couple months ago with Gabriela Fernandez against Teresa Bleda. And you saw what happened there. Yeah, Fernandez looked great on the feet, but inevitably she got taken down twice and she couldn't get up. And with that kind of thing, it's like only one of these women could conceivably be minus 500 here, and it's the Knudsen side. The best you're hoping for with Verbique is it looks like a pick'em fight. So I'm kind of with you. I'll probably pass. I do think Verbique is live, though. Like, she can definitely compete on the feet here.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me 15-minute kickboxing match, like I would be rushing to the window to bet. You mentioned the problem. Like, she gets taken down. That might be a round. Literally. Yeah. That's the whole round. She's done. She might even get finished for all I know. I don't know. I mean, because Knudsen is aggressive. Like, she's very aggressive. She'll throw elbows on top. Like, she's very aggressive. Even though she doesn't have, like, a lot of finishes, only one. But You see, like, this girl's aggressive. She's busting up these girls. Like, she's trying to get them out of there. And
she hurts people.
Yeah, she hurts people for sure. And you know, Verbique is a little iffy on the ground, to be honest. Let's move on here. Fight number 3. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 8-2 Oban Elliott versus the 16-4 Caccaburrito. What do you have here, John?
Yeah, so I went into tape thinking I'd probably bet Brito just because I looked at his tapology and he's fought some decent competition. Better than Elliott's, I would say. And then I left tape kind of wanting to play Elliott. Couple things, and I'm still not even sure if I'm going to do it because I do have like one big concern, and that is I really think when you watch this Brito guy, his best tool is his right hand, and I don't really think he's got a whole lot else. Like, he's not a great grappler. He's a bad defensive wrestler. His get-ups are fine, but he's easy to take down. I don't think he has good cardio, but the guy's got dynamite in his right hand. And so I'm taping it, and I'm like, okay, this is really an IQ test for Oban Elliott. Like, if he can just avoid the right, circle away from it, he should be able to win this fight fairly easily. But then I go back and watch, and it's like he was in the same fight with Matthew Bonner. It was a fight he won, granted. But it's like he spent the entire fight circling towards the right. And it's like, this is not – I try not to get that granular sometimes, but it's like that is really all Brito is looking to land, and he's going to, in large parts of this fight, give him that kind of fight. So that concerns me a lot. The other side of that is, though, I do think Elliott's got better cardio. I think he's got more reliable output. And as I mentioned – I feel pretty confident he can get takedowns here whenever he wants. You know, he's a decent wrestler for a UK guy, at least. He trains like out of that Jack Shore camp. So he's got decent training partners for a UK guy. And, you know, I just really don't think Brito has any way to defend it. And I think if he actually goes to the grappling early here, you're likely to see Brito slow. You know, one of the things I noticed is Brito's 0-3 in decisions in his career. And each fight's gone more or less the same way, where he's started well, and then you can see the takedowns start coming easier. His output starts to fall and fall and fall. And by round 3, it's like he's just chucking big rights and nothing else. Haven't decided if I'll play him. I am kind of leaning the Elliott side. I was hoping to get an okay price on under, but even that got like absolutely smoked here. So it's like minus 200 to the under now. So I don't know. Elliott's the lean. I might bet him. I think he's got a lot of tools to win this fight. I really just think it's how intelligent or unintelligent he decides to fight.
Yeah, man. I mean, you hit it on the head here with this matchup. The thing with Brito is, man, his fucking right hand, I'm telling you, man, it's very, very heavy. I mean, the way that these guys react when they get hit with that right hand, it's fucking incredible. Like, they're crumbling, dude. And you know, when you look, you know, the last guy he beat, Pink Panther, like this guy's a good fighter in octagon. He's not a slouch. You know, he's not easy to fucking knock out. He's not easy to get out of there. He's a tough guy. And dude, every time he landed the right hand on this guy was like wobbling all over the fucking place. This referee in that matchup, I can't believe he didn't stop this fight earlier. Like, this guy was getting murdered, dude. And he kept letting it go on. And I understand why he let it go on. It's because he's a local octagon guy. They love him there. This guy's like a king out there, this Pink Panther guy. But he's getting absolutely murdered with the right hand.
It was one of the ugliest beatings I've ever seen.
Dude, it was like silly, man. I mean, he's like wobbling everywhere. It keeps getting up, dropping him again. And it's like I go back and I look at, you know, Brito, and it's like every one of the fights, when he lands the right hand, nobody can take it. None of these guys can take it. He's fucking dropping them immediately. It's literally lightning. And the other thing you mentioned is he's fought really, really good guys, man. I know Pavel Gordiev really well. He is a really, really fucking high-level fighter that fights in ACA. I know this guy. He's very, very good everywhere. Good striker, good grappler. And, bro, he rocked Gordiev very bad in that fight multiple times. And the other thing that I noticed that with Caccaburrito, he gets tired. You're absolutely right. But he has a fucking granite chin, man. His chin is incredible. He's getting hit on the button by Gordiev and a couple of these other guys. Even Robert Braychek. I mean, that guy hits like an absolute tank. And he took some absolute bounce from him. And it's like, I'm like, how is this guy not knocked out? And then he knocks him out, you know, with his big right hand. So, you know, Oban Elliott, like, he has a path here, right? It's grappling. It's wrestling. It's grappling. And The Knudsen fight against a 44-year-old guy, that's what held me back from playing Brito. That fight, he gets taken down by a 44-year-old guy, kind of gets stuck in certain positions, and it's a little concerning against Oben Elliott. Not that I think Oben Elliott is a great grappler, but I think he can get takedowns here. On the feet, man, he better not stand with this guy. I mean, I understand Oben Elliott hits fairly hard, but I'm telling you right now, he's going to put his lights out if he stands with this guy for very long. So, kind of feel like I'm leading the Brito side. Honestly, I don't think Oben Elliott's going to be able to control him for very long. Also, Brito has decent sub game. He throws up some decent subs to threaten you. Not the best, but again, he will threaten with subs on the ground, and he'll try to work up. I mean, he's not going to just lay there and let you close his guard and lay there. But I don't know, man. It's a fight where I think Oben Elliott can win the fight via grappling. I also think Brito can knock him out fairly easily. So
he's a bit cocky too, Elliott, which kind of worries me. Like
he better not be cocky here.
He like the Flaminis fight. He instead of he was okay in the first round of that fight, just banging it out with Flaminis, and it's like, what are you doing? It is a worry for me.
I mean, this is the thing. 2 losses. He's been knocked out against Figlak, who's a good fighter, and Flaminis. This guy hits much harder than both of those guys by a mile. And if he lands on Oben Elliott, he's going to be like, what the fuck just hit me? And that's the concern, man.
I actually think Elliott's sub could be an interesting look just because he hasn't done it often, but he does I know he trains jiu-jitsu. I mean, that camp has generally all have pretty good jiu-jitsu. And, if you are someone that thinks that he is going to pursue a grappling heavy game plan, plus 700 is a pretty decent number.
I just think he's faced way better grapplers that haven't subbed him.
I agree.
Pavel Gordiev is a way better grappler. Like, it's not even close. Verbique's a way better grappler. It's not close, but obviously Verbique stopped him by elbows in the crucifix. But I didn't get to watch. I don't know if you watched that fight. I couldn't find it anywhere.
I couldn't find it either.
I watched the highlights where he had him in a crucifix and he's just like landing little elbows and they stopped the fight. But I don't know, man. I'm so fucking torn on this fight. I feel like Brito does gas, but he also pushes through. I don't know. If this line comes down, I'm going to bet Brito. I'm not going to bet him at minus 180 with a disadvantage in the grappling, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue. So probably going to attack it from a props perspective when DraftKings and Bet Rivers opens up their props. But right now, again, if gun to my head, I'm going to take Brito. I think he knocks out Oben Elliott, but right now it's a pass. It's another pass for me. It should be an interesting matchup, though. One more thing. This is the thing to note. Oben Elliott, in an interview with Sean Sheehan, said that he was quitting MMA. And then, go listen to it. It's crazy. He's like, last time we talked, you were going to quit MMA. He's like, yeah, I got a full-time job. I got a good job. They don't pay shit at Cage Warriors. You got to listen to the interview. He was going to quit. And then he got the call for Dana White's Contender Series. And then he says, that revived me because all the money is in the UFC. That's what he said. So go listen to it. It's with Sean Sheehan. It's kind of eye-opening because he was going to quit MMA, he says. So I don't know. Moving on. It is the main event of the night. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 6-0 Eli Aronov versus the 5-0 Zachary Reese, man. I'm going to let you kick this one off again, John, because I have some pretty weird takes on this one. Go ahead.
I think it's a bizarre fight, honestly. Like, I don't really know what to make of Zachary Reese. The guy, obviously, you want to talk. This is what I mean when we started talking about, this card and how weird some of these fights are. Like, you go and look at Zachary Reese's career. He's had 8 canceled fights in recent years, which is bizarre. He has gone over a minute as a professional only 2 times, and they were in his first 2 fights where he finished at a minute 32 and then finished at 4:13, both against absolute bums. The only semi-decent guy he's fought is Aaron Phillips, and he pretty much guillotined him instantly off the first shot of the fight. So, and when I see him strike, it seems very incoherent to me. Now, I will say it's like the footage we have of him striking is almost non-existent. So it's like I'm saying it seems incoherent, but I'm saying it seems incoherent based off of 2.5 minutes of tape. So I don't really know. But again, I don't really know what to make of him. So I taped him and I'm like, okay, like, I mean, Aronov's got at least one okay win on his record. And then you look at Aronov and it's like, he's a decent wrestler. He's got a decent Greco game. I think he's got an okay top game. Like, it's nothing special, but like he understands how to consolidate position, how to use underhooks and like overhooks to keep his opponents down. He has decent trips against the fence, but every time you see this guy in space, he is just getting absolutely lit up. And I am not sure about his cardio either. He fought in Bellator a couple years ago against the 2-2 guy who wasn't very good, and he won the fight. But the man looked dead gassed out 6 minutes in. He was basically just hitting desperation takedowns and laying praying. So I think about this and I feel, there is a big favorite path for Aronov theoretically, right? Like if it turns out Reese can't grapple off his back, Aronov just hitting takedowns and riding him out for 10 minutes seems like it's a plausible enough outcome. I wouldn't be shocked by it. The other side of that is, though, man, if he can't hold this guy down, I think he is going to get hurt and hurt badly in all likelihood. But then on top of that, you have to mix in. It's like, well, what is Zachary Reese's cardio? And it's like, I really have no idea. What I know about the fight is I think Reese is a much more dangerous finisher than Aronov is. And that has to count for something. The other side of it is obviously Aronov. Maybe he has a dominant grappling upside here and that could happen. But that's a larger unknown in this fight. I think the biggest known is Aronov has no defense whatsoever. He's got kind of suspect cardio, and Reese hits pretty hard. But yeah, I can't play Zachary Reese just based off. I don't know what happens if he ends up on bottom. I've seen him there as an amateur where he would throw up guard subs, and maybe he could sub him from bottom, but maybe he just gets stuck there. So I don't really know. I don't have a strong read. Do you?
I don't have a strong read because, again, Zachary Reese, right? Undefeated, 5-0, ran through all of his opponents in round one. Aaron Phillips is obviously the best opponent, but I honestly think Aaron Phillips sucks. Every time he's faced anyone decent, he gets finished, right? Like he's got Alaska FC guy. That's all you need to know, right? This guy came from Alaska FC. So he's not very good. And then the other guys are just like Tommy Britton. I know from Fury, he's just like a horrible older guy. This Zafalgari guy is some local guy from Chicago that's a striker that has no experience. All these guys are just not good, right? And then on the other side, Eli Aronov is like, he's got actually a pretty good win, right? Against Marius. Did you watch it? That's a good win because
I did, and he fought pretty well in that fight.
And I'll tell you, he took that fight on short notice. And apparently in his interview, everybody told him not to take that fight because Marius is pretty fucking big. He's good with his takedown defense. He's hard to get down.
He hurt him.
Yeah. And he's very long. He's the way better striker. All these things they told him, don't take the fight. Everybody told him supposedly not to take the fight. He's like, fuck that. I'm going to fight. Guy has heart. Guy clearly has heart. He went up there in Canada, took the fight on short notice. And bro, he worked fucking Marius once he got a hold of him, good night. This guy seems, honestly, Johnny seems very, very strong when he gets a hold of you. Greco-Roman guy.
Training. Yeah. So he was training for the national team. I know that.
He was on the national team.
Yeah.
Actually. He was on the Israeli national team, but it's very strong, right? The other thing is he's been at Extreme Couture for a while now. What did we learn? What did we learn from last week with Ebo? Right? He came to Vegas. He was at was he at Extreme or Syndicate? I can't remember, but one of them.
Extreme.
He was at Extreme as well. And honestly, Ebo looked like a completely different fucking fighter when he came out. Now, I'm not saying this guy's going to look like a different fighter or a good striker. His striking looks very bad, honestly. He was getting lit up, like you said, in Marius on the feet. And even in the Bellator fight against that Sari guy, he was getting lit up. Seems like he has a decent chin. I want to give him that. He's tough. But I will say that just based off watching his tape, I think he has better cardio. I'm just going on a whim because he's a wrestler. He's a Greco-Roman guy. I've seen him go 3 rounds. I've seen him grapple for all 3 rounds. I don't know. You know, I'm gonna say he probably has better cardio here.
I do think from a side perspective, it could only be Aronov, you know, right? Like, I mean, he's obviously, if someone's going to get 10 minutes of top time, it's going to be him.
Now, here's the other thing that kind of caught my eye, John. You probably didn't watch this fight. I did. So watching Zachary Reese, really, there's not many guys that grappled him at all. Like it's usually just he's walking through them. The only pro fight that you see that's a little bit of grappling is that Malik guy who's very, very bad, right? But man, watch his last amateur fight against this Parker Didier guy, which is not very long ago, right? It's a little over 2 years ago. This Didier guy looks way undersized. I mean, he's a small guy for the division. He just doesn't seem like very big, and he's fighting at 85. Dude, he literally holds him on the fence for 2 straight minutes in the first round. Holds him on the fence. This guy can't get out of it. With one underhook, he cannot fucking get out of the position. And Didier is trying to work like a takedown, and this guy cannot get off of it. And it's like, that one to me is eye-opening because it's like, dude, if this Israeli guy gets one underhook on you, and he has any type of like body lock, you're fucking going for a ride, dude. Like you're going for a ride.
Did you think, you know what's interesting? I kind of felt like watching Reese's tape that that he almost wants to be a grappler. Like he did that with that Malik guy where it's like you have this, in theory, gigantic standing edge, and he kept going to the body lock against. He doesn't seem very comfortable to me on the feet.
Yeah, I mean, he should have a monster edge here.
I agree.
This Aronov does throw with pop on the feet. Like he throws big hammers, but I mean, he's probably looking to get in. I mean, he's throwing hammers to get in a clinch, right? He wants to get a hold of you and get you down. He does have some tricky, like I like his tripping game when he gets a hold of you because he does, by the way, he does have a judo background as well. I think he's a brown belt in judo, if I'm not mistaken. So he does have a judo background. And he seems decent on top. Like he has some submissions. I mean, he has some. Actually, he's ground and pound. I like it. I mean, he has some pretty good ground and pound, especially against Marius. Go ahead.
If he locks his hands, Reese is going to the mat. I'm pretty sure.
100%. I mean, he looks very, very strong. I mean, I'll say this: like he's extremely strong. It seems like, and you know, his name is the Tank. I guess he was a commander in the military for Israel. So he was high up there, but I'm probably going to attack the props again, John. But if I know everybody's piling on Reese here, and this line seems to keep going up. We're looking at, minus 175 now. I mean, if I get Aronov like at 160 range, 170, I'm probably going to attack. Because he does have the grappling edge. I'm almost certain he's going to have the grappling edge here. And with that being said, he's faced the higher level of opposition in Marius. And then the other thing is Marius is very similar to Zachary Reese. 6'3", long guy, mostly a striker. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. I mean, everybody's hyping this guy, Zachary Reese. But off of what, man? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it's entirely possible Zachary Reese is good, right? I'm not saying it's not possible, but you can't look at any of those wins and take anything meaningful from any of them, you know?
Yeah. What are your locks, guys, or better picks? I don't believe in locks, by the way. And better picks, I mean, I don't have a play on the money line here on any of these guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
None.
I have no bets yet. I'm thinking about Elliott, thinking about Verbique, but probably not. I mean, it's a dicey card. It's a dicey card.
Very, very dicey. I'm going to attack props. Like I said, I'm going to have some props for sure. I think that the best way is to attack props, honestly, on this fight. I do have, like I said, I have a round 3 on Pahuilo just because I think he has the better cardio here, and he is an absolute madman. Now Ring could show me he has great cardio. I don't know. He might. He's younger. You know, he's probably training day and night, and yeah, it could be. But
I'll put it this
Tommy,
way:
that's my favorite play.
Pahuilo's a guy. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
Pahuilo is a guy that like you want to have your money on, and by that I mean I don't mean his skills necessarily, but generally guys that are durable with elite output who have elite cardio tend to be good places to rest your cash.
They win in Dana White's Contender Series. Like, look at all the guys. Look at all the guys from the what's that gym in Mexico?
Entrim.
So many of those guys have made the UFC via Dana White's Contender Series by just being fucking tough and keeping coming forward. I mean, there's a lot of them. And he's very fucking similar to those guys. I mean, he is. He's similar to the guy last week. What the heck was his name? I think he was from Peru, maybe.
Oh, on week 1, you mean?
Yeah, week 1. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't remember his name.
And he faced a really pretty good grappler.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I favorite play of the card. I don't have one, honestly, Tommy. It's gonna be some kind of prop, to be honest. I'm just waiting for DraftKings, and the props on Bet Online kind of suck. So I'm waiting.
We got 7 more. We got 7 more weeks Contenders after this. Plenty of time.
Oh my God, he took some Reese round 2, round 3. I'm surprised with that, honestly. I think Aronov might have better cardio, man. Honestly, I really do. I haven't seen Reese's cardio. How do we know that he has better cardio here for a guy that's never even been past like the half-minute mark of round 2?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, I had a parlay with Dos Santos, Swedish chick, Aronov by sub or decision. I don't mind that. one. What do you think of Brito Knudsen on the parlay? I don't know, man. I'm not willing to pay that line with Knudsen. Even in a parlay, I mean, you're still paying minus 280, 290. It's tough. But yeah, that's all 4 fights, guys. Yeah, sorry we couldn't give you any money lines, man. It's really iffy card for me here. I'm going to stay away most likely from money lines unless something blows out that I like,
Well, live should be bad. I mean, I feel like live for this card in particular should answer more questions for some of these fights, like the Pahuilo and Ring fight. We'll know fairly early on whether or not Pahuilo can get off his back. If he can, bet him on.
Oh, if he can, I'm gonna smash him. Yeah, I will smash him live. So
same thing with Reese Aronov. Can Aronov get his hands around him quick? Like, I'd rather bet Aronov minus 150 live, knowing takedowns are coming easy, than plus 130 pre.
Yeah, he got rocked against him, but he's tough, man. Marius hits pretty damn fucking hard. Don't sleep on that guy. He's not like some complete bum. So, that for all we know, Marius could be better than Reese. We don't fucking know. We have no idea, And he might, he beat up Marius in that fight.
Did you figure out why he's had so many fights canceled?
I have no. He didn't even fight from 2012 to like 2018 or 17.
It's very strange, man. I don't know. I don't know why that's the case, but it's weird.
Someone mentioned that people didn't want to fight him. I heard that somewhere. I don't know where, but
he is not the kind of guy that people are ducking. It generally,
yeah, like 5 years of not fighting is kind of weird. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know what's going on, but watch that Didier fight. That's a little bit of a red flag on him on that fight. That's the only one I could find that was substantial amount of like clinching / grappling. I should have added, says Furio Bets. I talked to the guy Reese has trained with, and they said his cardio is good. Then again, I've heard that before, and they guess in a minute. Yeah, that's the problem. Don't trust the guys they train with. Those guys are always going to give you a biased opinion. In my wholehearted like I've talked to a lot of fighters. They kind of there's bias.
Well, if they tell you someone they train with is bad, that is good
information.
Yeah,
very good info. If that same guy tells you that someone else is bad that he trains with, then I believe him, Furio. Then I believe him. Reese is working at an oil rig, I think, might be good for his cardio. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to take much into that. So true. Yeah. All right, guys, 67 of you still in here. Hit that like before you get out of here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate my guest, John Stargarian, MMA Fox. Thank you very much. What do you have going on, John? Let the people know and where they can find you.
Yeah, I am the host of the Club and Sub podcast. You can find me on Twitter at MMA Fox and the Club and Sub podcast at the Club and Sub podcast on YouTube. We go every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, talking UFC. Once in a while, we'll mix in a Bellator PFL card in there as well. Narco, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Follow this guy. Very, very sharp guy. Good friend. Great guy. Always in spaces as well. So, yeah, man, this past week, Ritz, we freaking, dude, it was amazing live bets, John. I wish you were there.
I missed it all. I missed almost the entire card.
Dude, I lost. I literally lost on my, like, all my other plays. I lost, like, I think 2,800, but I made, like, 3,900 in fucking live bets. It was crazy.
I had friends over, and I did not. I saw a couple of the fights, but I wasn't on my phone because my wife would not be allowing that. So
yeah, everybody's on Reese, and I'm betting Aronov. Yeah, I feel like everybody is on Reese, and the line really hasn't moved too much. It moved some, but not a lot. So, yeah, guys, you can find me at NarcoCop on Twitter. I will have probably a live space for this tomorrow, as well as PFL on Wednesday. I'm going to do a breakdown of PFL. I think tomorrow, I'll see, but I will do a breakdown of PFL. I already got into the card a little. It seems like an interesting card here. There's some weird matchups on this PFL card. But yeah, guys, shoot the man to follow, MMA Fox on Twitter. Very nice guy, sharp guy. Shoot him all the DMs you want. He will answer all of them. He's an extremely nice guy. Even if you have family problems, he'll answer them. So take care, guys. See y'all tomorrow in live spaces, and let's cash those tickets for Dana White's Contender Series.